All right, welcome back, everyone. All right, so tonight I'm flying solo yet again, unless I get joined by one of my co-hosts in the middle of all this. So we're going to open up with a story that essentially was dominating my feed today. The Democrats called the Trump Jesus image blasphemy, repulsive, profane. Representative McGovern said he was disgusted as a Catholic. The New Republic put Obama in a Christ pose on their cover in 2008. I didn't even I knew that there was something about how they handled Obama back in, while he was in office, but I totally forgot. So we're going to be looking at a couple of videos here, all right? And then you guys tell me in the chat what you remember of that time. Okay, tell me what you remember of that time, because um I loosely followed American politics. I was just glad that we had the audacity of hope in office. Obama was in office, which meant, oh, black people are free now. I mean, that was the version they gave us. So let's watch this. It's just a few seconds.
Really? People have problems with this? I found plenty of illustrations of Obama as a doctor. Nobody cared about these.
The confusion's
Dr. Obama.
Yeah, so that was going on during Obama's time in office. Guys, it's insane that you have all of these things going on now. There's this I did a Google search. I did a Google search. Hold on, let me read this caption. Let me read this caption, okay? So that okay, well, let me just zoom in. Reminder: after Barack Obama was elected, this crap was circulated all over social media and even some publications throughout his entire presidency. No leftist, liberal, legacy media personality, Democrat, or the Pope at that time said anything. Not even Republicans said anything, including the ones who are feigning outrage right now about what Trump posted a few days back. Now, it doesn't mean that I support him posting that. No. It All I'm calling out is the hypocrisy. Here's a here's a here's a look. The hypocrisy is insane. Obama '08 Messiah, and there's a picture of Obama with the immaculate bleeding heart. This is Catholic, this is Roman Catholic iconography, and nobody freaked out. I don't recall anyone freaking out, and I was on the internet. No one freaked out. I was watching CNN religiously, and there was nothing. There was no wall-to-wall coverage of Democrats or leftists or even Republicans showing up to rant about the sitting president or the Democrats' lead front runner for the presidential race showing up as uh, Jesus. Or is it this? Look, there's so many. Okay, so like, aren't you just fed up about this stupid hypocrisy that like whenever Trump looks at someone the wrong way, it's a danger to humanity. When Trump reposted, and it wasn't created by him, from everything that I've been finding online. When Trump posted the AI image that appeared to show him in a Christ-like pose, Democrats called it blasphemy. Representative Jim McGovern, essentially, like I said earlier, freaked out, saying that he was offended and repulsed because he's Roman Catholic. Now, he and then he asked the question: does Trump think he's Jesus? One photo of Trump as Jesus. Here's how many. Okay, for the one photo of Trump which someone else made, which someone on his team reposted, because I don't think that Trump sits with his phone all day managing his social media. Someone on his team thought it would be cute to repost it, and all hell breaks loose. And here's how many of these for Obama? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Look at him. Picture of Black Jesus. Like seriously, people considered him the Democrat Black Jesus, and here he is. Okay, and then there's this photo from Newsweek with a rainbow colored halo. Now you guys know what that means, and during Obama's time in office, the Democrats and leftists ran roughshod over anything that was Christian. Anything that was Christian, they ran roughshod on everything that was Christian. If you resisted, they would prosecute you. Remember the couple who lost their business, their cake making business, because a gay couple came into their store and they refused to serve them because of their Christian convictions. Okay, and then they got dragged through the courts and lost their business. Did that happen under Trump? No, it was under uh, the term that Black Jesus was in the White House. The hypocrisy is stunning. So Patricia is under the weather. If you're watching, please pray for Patricia. She's under the weather, but she's back. She's back doing what she does best. Uh, so Patricia says, "Well, God did answer our prayers. He did." Okay, and Patricia says, I saw the Pope trying to be advisor to the president. When Trump turns it around, people get all upset. Trump had every right to respond to what the Pope said. He did. Trump's job is to run the country. The Pope has no right. And for months, the Pope has been second guessing the president on immigration policy. And he's had a lot to say about the Trump administration's handling of immigration. So that's so all of this came out. All of this came out today, and there were more. There were lots of people who were essentially reminding the leftists and the Democrat Party that all of this came out, and they kept quiet. I like the internet. The internet tends to remind us of the hypocrisy. Okay. Um, Patricia says. Then Obama had to make his remark about we, the people, not turning loose of our Bibles or guns. Yeah, he made a snarky remark about that. I remember. Now, if you recall that statement by Obama, please let's know in the chat. Okay, please keep your comments coming. Now, the fake outrage that we see coming through mainstream media, coming from the Democrats and even some Republicans, okay, makes me wonder at either the intelligence of these people or the integrity of these people. Integrity being that if you saw all of this happening during Obama's time in office, how come you didn't call it out? And if you're going to attack Trump for something he didn't even create, okay, you should attack Obama for stuff he didn't create, because I don't think he sat at a computer doing all of this himself. So again, it's the double standards. All right. Now, let's see. There were other things that were happening at the time. Okay, Obama prayer candles depicting him as a saint were sold openly. Hold on, I'm just rushing through this because I did some research and I picked up some of these things, and I just want to read them out. Okay, so McGovern said he was disgusted, said this is outrageous, offensive, and profane. Clearly, he says Trump is not well. As an American, a Catholic, a human, I am disgusted. That is the same Jim McGovern who said nothing when the New Republic put Barack Obama in a Christ like pose on their cover in January 2008. He was in office at the time. The same Jim McGovern who said nothing when Newsweek did the same in May 2012. Obama prayer candles depicting him as a saint were sold openly in San Francisco in 2009. They were photographed by Getty Images. Not one Democrat politician called it blasphemy. Not one. It's insane. Okay, I'm I'm sorry. It's breathtaking how hypocritical these people are. The one time any major news organization came anywhere close to covering this was when a statue titled Blessing, depicting Obama as Jesus, was displayed at the Art Institute of Chicago in 2007. NBC's headline at the time said, "Sculpture of Obama as Jesus causes stir." And that was it. Just one sentence. And they moved on. Like there was no um diarrhea of outrage. But today it's Trump. So it's fair game. The media that spent years producing those covers and saying nothing is the same media that ran wall-to-wall outrage coverage of the Trump image within 4 hours of it being posted. The standards, the standard has not changed. Okay? The standard hasn't changed. The party holding the standard has. Now, I have some fun facts. Okay, some fun facts. The New Republic was founded in 1914, and by its January 2008 Obama cover with a halo was considered one of the most celebrated magazine covers of the election cycle. Critics called it aspirational. Nobody called it blasphemy. Are you following? The Newsweek 2012 cover of Obama with the headline, "The Second Coming." Guys, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. Patricia says, "I have lost my voice, but my fingers are doing great." Thank you, Patricia, for supporting me because it's not the same when you're not on the show, because I'm sure that you would have had a lot to say about this. Okay. So Newsweek had the cover with the headline, "The Second Coming." That one was also widely celebrated. The word blasphemy did not appear in any coverage from any major Democratic official. Trump's image was up for less than 12 hours before he deleted it. He told reporters he thought it depicted him as a doctor with a Red Cross connection. His exact words, "I do make people feel better." Now, I I I want you to just follow this logic. There have been people who have spent years trying to separate Trump from his evangelical base. Okay, the people who have supported him disproportionately have been told that Trump is not a Christian. He is not a believer in Christ. He hasn't made a formal confession of faith, so he is not a Christian. So why should you vote for him? That's what people have spent years trying to push on the evangelical crowd. Now, the same people who have been trying to persuade the evangelical crowd that Trump is not a Christian are the same people who expect Trump to recognize Christian iconography. I mean, do you see the contradiction here? They want you to believe that Trump is not a Christian. He's a pagan. He's heathen. He has a potty mouth. You shouldn't take him seriously as a Christian. And then when he does something that someone who isn't a Christian shouldn't know. He sees something, he likes it, and he posts it. They rush and claim that as a Christian, he just committed blasphemy. All right, I just wanted to throw that in as an extra. All right. So, um, Patricia says, yes, they are proving that the Dems are not regaining their minds. They just keep going down the rabbit hole. The Democrats have lost their minds, in my opinion. They've lost their minds. They've lost their minds, or they've lost the plot, whatever you want to call it. They've lost it. Because just like what I've just done now, okay, I've given Obama his due. He did not create these images. And I also said Trump didn't create that image. Okay, that's a one for one. Obama had how many of these images circulating in his 8 years in office? Look at that. And Trump posts one thing, and within hours, he's being attacked. So the hypocrisy essentially is strong with these ones. So let me know your thoughts in the chat. Patricia says you should never judge people because the Bible says you will be judged as you have judged others. Do you know the sad thing, Patricia? The sad thing is that they don't get it. They don't get it because the very same things that they attack Trump for are things that they did. They've done themselves. Okay, they've done this themselves consistently. Democrat after Democrat in office did the same things, and once Trump does it, he is the Antichrist. All right. So I want you guys to just enjoy this picture because do you know what? It's like the situation with Swalwell. Swalwell spent years attacking the situation with Kavanaugh. Okay, he says this about Kavanaugh. I'm glad I have this open. Okay, he says this about Kavanaugh. What goes around comes around, and I'm so glad that we have the receipts. Okay, he says this about Kavanaugh.
I saw continued demeaning of victims of sexual assault, people who deserve to be heard, who deserve for their allegations to be investigated. For Brett Kavanaugh's sake, if he is innocent, I hope tomorrow he opens his statement and says, you know what? Bring in all the victims, allow them to be heard, allow them to be questioned. That will clear his name if he's indeed innocent. And if he's not, for the sake of the credibility of the court, I hope that the senators would vote against him. I saw continued.
So he says that about Brett Kavanaugh. Okay. Did you know that Swalwell just had a restraining order put out on everyone who's accusing him of sexual assault to muzzle them from doing so? Did you know that? Same guy. So Patricia, you are absolutely correct. Don't judge, else you will be judged. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. Meanwhile, we're still waiting on his resignation. We're still waiting on his resignation. He claimed that that he had resigned, but I'm yet to see an update uh essentially confirming that he has resigned. All right. So meanwhile, did you guys hear that the Democrats have essentially filed 6 articles of impeachment against Pete Hegseth? Yeah, so like these are things that are happening, and it just drives me up the wall because it's as if the only thing these people know how to do is embarrass themselves with all of the litigation, the lawfare, and the stonewalling that they're doing in Congress. What they have done so far is let everyone know that they are in favor of autocratic dictators. and theocracies. That's what they've essentially informed the whole world that they're all about. Iran is a theocracy that routinely hangs anyone who doesn't fall in line. They hang them from cranes routinely. But the Democrats are fine with it. So this is the same party that filed the 25th Amendment bill against Trump just yesterday. And now they forced four failed war power votes against President Trump. They tried to impeach Kristi Noem. They tried to impeach Pam Bondi. Of course, both of them were gone before the votes happened. This is what the opposition party does when it has no power and wants to stay on television. They are not doing anything useful for the American people. Like, that's what this looks like to me. All right. Now, there might be a few people who feel like, yeah, that's what they voted them in for. So let me get this straight. So instead of them doing things that will benefit you and your children and your grandchildren, your big problem is that they make Trump look bad. Because when you bring articles of impeachment that fall flat on the floor and don't have any legs, when you try to use the 25th Amendment against a president who, by all indications, is more present and more functional than Joe Biden, and you guys didn't even mention the 25th Amendment when Biden was falling up the stairs. You remember that? Okay, it makes you guys look like a joke. Now, I need you guys to just know this. I am not a Republican because I know that there are people who see this and say, okay, he's a Republican and he's supporting the Republican Party. The only thing I support is the policies that they push. I'm not a Republican, not a Democrat. I'm just calling things as I see it. And as I see it, the Democrat Party has left the reservation. Patricia says, I think there was something about a special election to replace Swalwell. I haven't seen that yet. And I don't think, I'm not sure they can do that when they haven't even read his resignation letter. So I'm not sure they can do that. No impeachment of Swalwell will make it through Congress. The House charges, the Senate is the trial. Okay, the House charges, the Senate is the trial. Okay. Democrats can only file false charges and lawsuits. They have forgotten how to be representatives and senators. They are not going to. They are not doing their job, but shocking it off on their controlled courts. The Democrat Party, essentially, from what I can see, is a TV political opposition. They do things just for television. That's all they're doing, just for television. Okay, that's all they're doing. All right. So if you're just joining us, because I'm sure that some people saw the thumbnail of Obama and they jumped in, we've already talked about the hypocrisy of the Democrat Party and how they ignored Obama being depicted as a messiah figure with murals like this Black Jesus mural circulating on social media, and nobody screamed blasphemy. Well, to be fair, and let me just be fair, because I hate double standards and I don't want to be guilty of double standards. Can someone let me know if Obama reposted any of these photos? Because that's something else too that we would like to, clarify. Because it's all well and good to say, well, Democrats didn't scream, but their problem is that Trump reposted it, and like I said, Trump doesn't personally handle his accounts. Okay, no billionaire personally handles their accounts. I think. Okay. Patricia says someone should interview Judge Joe Brown on the Democrats' lawsuit. Yeah, Judge Joe Brown would be a great interview to have. He would be a great interview to have to talk about this insanity that's going on. Okay. Now, the House Democrats introduced 6 articles of impeachment against Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth today. The resolution was introduced by Representative Yasamin Ansari, the first Iranian American Democrat in Congress. Oh, no, don't tell me that she's one of those. Hmm. The articles accuse Hegseth of unauthorized war against Iran, violations of the law of armed conflict, signal gates, obstruction of congressional oversight, socially conservative Pentagon policies, and personal misconduct. It has 8 co-sponsors. The Pentagon's response was brief. This is just another charade in an attempt to distract the American people from the major successes we have had here at the Department of War. Secretary Hegseth will continue to protect the homeland and project peace through strength. Now, note the pattern, guys. Democrats previously filed impeachment efforts against Kristi Noem as Homeland Secretary, as Homeland Security Secretary, and against Pam Bondi. We talked about that already. Both were removed by Trump before any vote occurred. The impeachment efforts were rendered moot before they began. This is the 5th separate removal or impeachment effort in roughly 90 days. Not one has succeeded. Each one lands on the news cycle, generates a day of coverage, and that's the intent. That's the intent. They just want the outrage, and then it disappears. The next one is announced 2 weeks later. That's essentially how it is. And like, if you watch what the Democrats have been doing, they've essentially been farming for outrage. They look for something, and if there's nothing that they can essentially use reasonably as an outrage point, they manufacture one by essentially smearing or lying about it. All right. So the ceasefire with Iran is holding. The blockade is working. Iran's central bank is warning of 180% inflation, and Democrats are filing impeachment papers. All right. So do you think these people love the United States of America? Let me know in the comments or in the chat. Patricia says Obama did not handle his own account. There was one instance he said one of his staff did. Yeah, and it's the same thing with Trump. Okay, there's a famous video during the last election campaign where Trump was having a meeting. He sees something on the news, and then he dictates a post that someone else makes on his Truth Social and maybe his X account. So, does he have time to approve every post that goes out on his social media account? No, he's running the country, and some would argue he's running the world. So he can't be managing every single post that happens on his social media account. He trusts people, he delegates, and that's the mark of a great leader. When you delegate, you let the people do their job. You don't micromanage it. Patricia says Hegseth does not act on his own. He's under the commander-in-chief's order. Everyone that is honest about what's going on will simply understand that this is all a charade. It's all a charade. All right. Now, so the Democrats essentially have nothing to offer. The people who support them still believe that Trump is an existential threat, and that gives the Democrats carte blanche to do whatever they like and essentially not run policies that are beneficial to the American people, but spend time smearing and attacking Trump. Okay. Is that what a representative should do? If I found Republicans doing this uh to Joe Biden, okay, so let me ask, did they do it with Joe Biden? Did they spend week after week after week looking for outrageous things to say about Joe Biden, or did they simply stay on policy? Okay, let me know in the chat. Patricia says, has the Dems cleared up the problem with HMS yet? They haven't. Patricia also says they need to focus on their job. I agree. But you know what? The American people get shafted either way. Whether the politicians in Washington, D.C. work or not, they get paid. And that's why they have a shutdown, a running government shutdown. Has the shutdown been ended? Is the shutdown still on? Hold on, let me just confirm. Is the shutdown still in effect? Um Patricia says, hold on, let me read this. All right, guys. So let me know in the chat. I think they kept bringing up Trump during the Biden administration. Yeah, like Biden was in office, and every single problem that rose up during the Biden administration was Trump's fault. Like, can you figure that out? It's like Congress. The Democrats in Congress are like a bunch of 5-year-olds. Everything is Trump's fault. It's like my 3-year-old. His mom asks, my wife asks, who broke this? And do you know who it is? His elder sister. Every single time, blaming somebody else who wasn't even in the house. Okay, Trump wasn't the one in office, but it's Trump's fault that the economy is spiraling. It's Trump's fault that gas is $5 a gallon in some states, $8 a gallon. It's Trump's fault. Okay, so yeah, it's crazy that we have this happening in Congress, and many Democrats are okay with it, and that's fine. More power to you if that's the way you think a country should be run. More power to you. So that's it for Big Hexet. Now, there's a story that surfaced in my feed this evening, and I couldn't believe it. It was almost impossible to believe. Okay, so this is a repost by Elon Musk from ALX. It says the new leading Democrat candidate for governor of California. So they replaced Eric Swalwell with this guy, and this is Tom Steyer. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, and that's the post that he just published. And here's what he said: the true test of a leader is not who they disparage and attack. Of course, they're floating Trump here, but who they defend and uplift. Donald Trump attacks and robs the most vulnerable in our society while protecting and enriching the most powerful. How about all the people who have been murdered by illegal aliens? Tom, I've made it clear ICE must be abolished. ICE is acting like a criminal organization, carrying out indiscriminate racial profiling and using violence, intimidation, terrorism, and the murder of Americans to extend Trump's rule. Now, the man who just became the front runner to replace Swalwell, like these guys, Democrats sure know how to pick them. He wants to abolish ICE and throw agents in jail. But guess what? Now, here's the sweet part. his old hedge fund invested $90 million in the company that runs California's immigration detention centers. Did you get that? The same guy that's screaming and frothing at the mouth on social media is making money off of immigration detention centers. He is now pretending that never happened. That is the person California Democrats are really or are rallying around this week. Tom Steyer has emerged as the front runner in place of Swalwell. Crazy. Homeland Security is still shut down. And you know what? If anything happens, if there's any attack, if something critical happens, it's Trump's fault. Not the guys who intentionally shut down government. No, it's Trump's fault. Patricia says California picks the top two candidates to run for governor. Right now, the two Republicans running have the first and second spots. Patricia says that is historical. Make money off ICE, but be against them. They don't believe a word that comes out of their own mouths. That is the sad thing. Um, do, do you know how broken your soul has to be to consistently repeat things you don't believe? And you do it so well that you convince the people watching you that it's true. It's sad, but these people are broken. They are broken. I used to think that actors were like great and they were fantastic, amazing people. But I realized that for an actor to be truly great, he has to repeatedly break his own soul because he has to become someone else every time he has a new job. Every time he has a new job, he has to literally empty out his himself and put another person inside of his soul in order to be in character. So don't be surprised when you see the Hollywood superstars acting like they're demon possessed, because most of them are. Because they literally need to take in another being in order to pretend to be that person, to be so convincing that they win Oscars and they win your hearts and mind and your support and your money because you go to watch them. The same thing for politicians. Politicians stand in front of you and lie so convincingly. None of these guys believe a word they're saying. They say that they don't believe in borders, but all of them have walls around their homes. They say they don't believe in in tra- in your children inheriting your wealth, but all of them find ways to shelter their wealth from the state so that so that they can transfer it over to their kids. They don't believe a word they say. Bernie Sanders, who only a few short years ago was screaming, millionaires are bad, are bad, until he became a millionaire. And then he switched it to saying billionaires are bad. Okay, I have the graphic somewhere in my feed. So, guys, it's sad. I feel like these people are broken. They don't believe a word they say. Most of them are demon possessed. You know, I have to say it because I mean, have you ever tried to lie so convincingly that the people who watch you believe what you say to the point that they would go out and put their lives at risk, like we see in Minnesota? and in California, in Portland, in Oregon. You see these people literally put their lives on the line. In New York, they put their lives on the line because a politician says, go out there and disrupt, go out there and cause trouble, go out there and stand against ICE. But they wouldn't leave the comfort of their mansions to join you in those risky protests. Patricia says they want the illegals here to change the voting districts. Yep, that's true. People should demand a count of American citizens when changing voting districts to make sure foreign influence does not affect our voting. Yeah, so that's crazy. Excuse me. So let's give you some fun facts about Steya. Okay, so Farallon Capital Management, Steya's old fund, manages roughly $37 billion in assets. It was named after the Farallon Islands off the coast of San Francisco, a chain of rocky outposts that are federally protected and almost entirely inaccessible to the public. Steya ran the longest long shot presidential campaign in the 2020 Democratic primary. He qualified after several debates and spent more money per delegate than any other candidate in the field. His total delegate count at exit was 0. Core Civic, the company Steyer's fund invested in, operates 50 facilities, 50 immigration ICE detention facilities across 19 states, and holds contracts with ICE to house immigration detainees. The company has faced lawsuits and congressional scrutiny over conditions at its facilities. So let's get this straight. CNN goes to a detention facility where the detainees claim that they're having a hard time. How possible is it that those facilities are owned by this guy, or at least the company that he invested in, and then they want to blame Trump for it? So essentially, the ICE detention centers are privately managed. That's what I'm getting right now from this discovery. California currently has the largest illegal immigrant population of any state in the country, estimated at between 1.8 to 2.3 million people. That is a huge voting population, guys. The state already spends more on services for undocumented residents than the GDP of several small countries. This is insane. This is insane. All right, let's let's round this up. Okay, let's round this up. So, um, Eric Swalwell drops out of the race. He is replaced by another liar, Tom Steyer, who himself has invested in ICE detention centers and is currently profiting from ICE detention centers while making a post that says ICE must be abolished. They don't. It's clown world, guys. Patricia says California is the capital of insanity. I agree totally. I agree. Yeah, because like we watched the riots last year when they went berserk and attempted to um, maim and injure ICE agents. It's crazy. All right, so guys, please consider going over to X and subscribing to Crossroads IRL. That is the profile that we have on X. Subscribe to this channel if you like what you saw and you enjoyed the conversation, the exchange in the chat, thank you so much for watching. And also consider um, sending us a super chat, joining the membership. It helps us keep the lights on, literally. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Patricia, I've missed you in the chat, but it's always fun having you behind the mic during our live streams. So we are going to be calling it a night. This is a short one for what we've been doing over the last few days. At least the last week, we had several long live streams, but tonight we're going to be keeping it short and sweet. And you guys, let me know, do you like the short and sweet versions or the long ones? I need to know which one or ones you are comfortable with. Okay. So we covered a bunch of stories. Let me know what your favorite story was in the comment section. What was your favorite story? Which one resonated with you? Now, I want to be honest. Okay, I like covering stories. I like covering stories where we can reason through the issues. Okay, reason through the issues and actually unpack some of these things. I know that it's not popular to just relax and have a conversation. Most of the live streams that cover updates on news and politics tend to focus more on outrage. But I want us to have a reasonable conversation and talk through these things so that we're not, our emotions are not turned against us by the powers that be. We want to see clearly, speak clearly. Look, election cycles are coming, like there's one coming in a few months and then another one in a couple of years. And once an election cycle comes around, people lose their minds. So we need to start learning how to think clearly, how to reason, how to process these ideas carefully, and how to have decent fact-based conversations. And that's why, I decided to do a fun facts read during this live stream so that we can actually see some of the hypocrisy in Technicolor. All right. Thank you, Patricia. Patricia says thank you. Please get well soon. She lost her voice, so she can't speak. And we hope to see you on the next live stream. The next live stream, I think, is tomorrow. So what we're going to be, we hope to see you too in the chat, Patricia, because I'm not sure you're going to be healed up yet completely by then. So hope to see you then. So until the next one, thank you. God bless you and stay safe. Bye-bye.